deal sourcing. How do people go about finding these deals? Because you're saying that, oh, up to 2 million, I find it quite easy to find these deals, and you're doing 7 per year, which is one every other month. How is it that you've become so prolific? And should people be looking in auctions? Should they be going direct to vendor? Should they be going to commercial agents or estate agents? How do you find deals?
Okay, so let's clarify this. So one of your statements that you just made there, it's easy. It is not easy. Effort is required. But you listening to this right now, you're putting the effort in anyway. What I've realized, so one of my businesses when I started was garments. And I am answering your question there, right? And I used to sell T-shirts for £2.99 to two for £5 up in this market in Kent, a place called Pratt's Bottom. And I kid you not. You know? And, yeah, and what I realized is actually the effort that we put in now is the same effort. It's the same effort. It's just a different set of rules. And the result of what you get is so much bigger. And all you got to do is learn the rules. So effort is required, but everyone is putting the effort in already anyway. Just learn a new way of doing things with this asset class. The learning is key, by the way. Yeah. So effort is required. Enough said there. So it's not easy, but what is easy? Yeah. Your results will be massive. I think I've nailed that point now. Enough, right?
Nothing worthwhile is easy.
Yeah, nothing worthwhile is easy.
So it's always going to be the effort.
Yeah, there ain't no get rich quick. There's none of that. What you can do though, and many of my students have done this, within 12 to 24 months, you can reach your financial freedom if that's what you desire, actually. So it is very achievable, and yeah, it's very achievable. So, I forgot your question now. What's the rest of your question?
Where to find deals? So it's not easy, but where do we find deals?
Where do we find deals? Right, okay, so deals. So 88% of our deals come from estate agents. Estate agents are a wonderful resource. They work for you for free. And actually, they're always working for the seller. What the agent does for the seller isn't really what the seller thinks the agent does. Agents are very professional people, the ones that we deal with, and they really work their socks off. So 88% of that work is done for you. Great thing, leverage. You can leverage just about everything in property. So that's great. So estate agents. About 10% of our deals come directly from the seller, so direct-to-vendor strategies that we use. So leafleting, direct marketing, online marketing, various different ways going directly to the seller. And by the way, the best strategies when you're making them creative is when you can speak to the owner-occupier. When you can carve a deal that works for them and works for you. So many of our creative deals are usually directly through the direct-to-vendor channels. And then about 2% of our deals come from auctions. Now, as we're keeping the conversation honest, there's a load of BS that is sold at auctions. There are, in fact, sellers even buying at auction. There are sellers buying at auction their own lots and things like that. There's all sorts of unscrupulous stuff that goes on, although it's all legally scrupulous, if you know what I mean. So, lots goes on. People also sell in auction and make money. They buy in auction and make money. However, amongst all of that, there are about 2% of what we look for. We vet that very carefully. There are some serious, solid deals in auctions. Typically, we look for a 25 to 35% reduction from market value at an auction.
Is that from the end market value that is kind of 35% down, or are we talking about actually it's a rundown property, and if we bought it at 35%, it'd be from that value down, or is it from the end value down?
Yeah, good question. So we look at end value versus all costs. So otherwise, you never get a deal. So if there's, for example, if you've got a house, let's say, a simple example. Let's say you've got a house with a piece of land on the side, and right opposite, on that same street, there's a house with another house being built where there was a piece of land. You've got a very strong precedence, and so we would work the value out with the fact that that house has been built. So in this way, you'd work out a margin. We'd also incorporate, if we didn't get it for whatever reason, de-risking.
The planning,
we would say, what would happen if we didn't get any planning? Would this still wipe its face? Will it still work? Could we put it back into an auction? Could we still sell it somewhere? So we work that out as option one, not as option two.
Yeah, the worst case, base case.
Yeah. So so the case of what it is at the moment, and then you work out the value in that way.
So auctions, I find it very difficult to buy anything in an auction. Everything goes for more money than I think it's worth. And I do a bunch of research. you're in this constant hamster wheel of kind of like, right, the catalog comes out, you've got to look at so many different lots, and you highlight, let's say, 3, 4, 5 of them, because you can't go into too much depth on too many lots, and then especially going through all the legal packs, and especially when a solicitor look at it. And then I end up identifying the one that I like, and I work out my max bid. And then 2 weeks later, you arrange a viewing, so you go out and you see these properties as well, just to make sure you like them, and there's nothing that comes up. De-risk, due diligence, all of that. And then eventually it goes way above what you were ever going to pay for it. And then you try again the next 6 weeks later or the next catalog later. And constantly doing this for a year and a half. And I was like, every single thing that I've looked at has gone for more money than I think it's worth. And I just could never find the deal.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I have so many of these conversations until I tell them the next bit. Do you want the next bit? We're talking about auctions now.
Yeah.
Okay, let's discuss a bit about auctions. So, when it comes to auctions, what we've got to remember is the amount of money that we're actually making. So, let's say you factor in, first of all, 12 months. And in that 12 months, if you could just find one project, just one project in 12 months, well, let's say you made 100K from it, which, by the way, in this world of property, is so doable. Just one project, 100K. Yeah? So you set yourself a goal that in 12 months, you're going to find a project. Now, the key with this is tenacity. Many people give up too fast. Many people don't even get started. And if they do get started, they're looking for that instant result that we talked about right at the beginning. However, if you can give yourself a timeline of 12 months, and in that 12 months, you create the tenacity that no matter what, you're going to keep going, you're going to keep going, you're going to stay in. Staying in is so important.
Yeah.
You're going to get a deal. Now, let's talk about some specifics. Let's discuss specifics on how you can do this quick, fast, and sharp. Because people, and you're quite right, what you just explained there, people suck in a lot of time. Not their fault, they're doing their best. So how do you minimize your time? Because your time is everything, isn't it, when you think about it? You know, as I've become wealthier, I measure my time from deals done. So, I mean, actually, it's an exercise I do on a sort of a weekly basis on a Sunday usually. So the last measure was £47,500 per day. Yeah, that's not my tax return because we minimize tax legally and correctly. However, that's £47,500 per day worked out from deals done. Now, you know, I'm not saying that to impress anybody, just to impress upon you that anyone can do this. If I can do it, you can do it. Yes, you might need a system and you might need some help on it, but it can be done. So how can you do this quick, fast, and sharp? So, first thing, the tenacity we just discussed. So, let's discuss 3 points that are really relevant. The first one is, when you're looking at these projects, look for the quick win. So, the first thing that we do when we come to auctions is we go straight to the legal pack and we go straight to the special conditions. Because if there's any problems or challenges, where you're going to find them is in the special conditions. So if that property is a problem property, there's no point of you doing any further due diligence then after the special conditions. And you will find that in many cases, that property falls down at the special conditions. So how much time have you actually spent? Usually we spend about 10 to 15 minutes on the special conditions. So we don't go to view the property because what's the point? If the special condition says that it's not worth viewing the property.
It's got a huge covenant or something on it. It's restrictive covenant. Or it's got
It could be restricted covenant. There could be overages. There could be buyer's fees. There could be so many different things in there which people aren't aware of. So you check the special conditions first. Now, if it passes the special conditions, then we'll look through the rest of the legal pack. Then we'll assess the deal. Desktop. If the deal works at desktop, we'll only then go and view the property. Now, the thing is, yes, you're quite right. You're going to have to view properties because sometimes they will sell. In most cases, they do sell. However, what you're going to do when it doesn't sell and you haven't done your due diligence, you've then got literally a couple of hours to secure that deal. And if you haven't done your due diligence, you haven't done all of that up front, you're not going to be able to make an offer, are you? And keep in mind what I just said earlier. You're looking for a deal, let's say, over a 12-month period. So the tenacity is important. All the stuff I just shared with you, and you can do this in a fast, quick approach. I've just shared with you a whole methodology on how you can do it.
It makes sense. I think I ended up giving up on probably just shy of 12 months or probably just over 12 months. I just found it really, really demoralizing.
Stay in. Community.
But you know what?
Hang around with us. When's the last time you had lunch with me?
Yeah, no, it's very true. But you know what I did do, though? I did 550 deal appraisals in 18 months on the HMOs, which I was more inclined to pursue. That was my thing.
Did you get some?
Oh, yeah, I got a whole flurry of them.
Well, look at
After
that.
550 deal appraised
Yeah.
in 18 months and traveling literally the length and the breadth of the country. But they were all through estate agents and commercial agents and this sort of thing. The auction method was just a lot harder for me. I didn't do the direct-to-vendor marketing. If you had to only pick one, direct-to-vendor, agents, auctions, to find your deals, which one would you pick?
What, from estate agents as well? Or just
Estate agents, auctions, or direct-to-vendor marketing. You could only do one for the rest of your life.
Sure, I'll answer that question. Just finish off just for the listeners on a bit more, some more value for listeners. On the auctions, don't look for your bog standard. Bog standard does not work.
That's actually where I was going wrong, because I was looking at vanilla stuff. I had this property expert, auction expert, telling me, Sam, you're looking at what everyone on the homes and the hammers looking at. You're never going to find a deal.
Look for ugly, look for dirty, look for something that is off patch, look for something that other people don't want to touch, yet you find the value in it. And that's the key, being able to identify that. So that's on the auction. And to answer your question, your next one, I would say definitely estate agents. Because like what I say, 88% of our deals come from estate agents. And it's a fun environment as well. You know, you create some great relationships. If you're a people kind of person, you know, you get on with people, you enjoy it. There's a whole system there as well. If you're kind of a systems type person, yeah, I love it.
I think that's my favorite as well. So